special episode. It's Halloween! We're talking all slashers and Halloween things. Brian, hit that music. Let's do it. From 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 71. My name is Michelangelo.
This is Timmy.
I'm Squid Games.
And welcome to the show.
I'm Squid.
I'm Squid. I'm Squid.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Issue 71.
Did you guys want candy?
We have candy here. You just decided to dump the entire bucket
for your side. For your bit.
I mean,
he's selling it as his bit, but we all know it's not a bit.
He really wants all that candy.
Don't judge me because I'm fat.
We're going to be so hyped up on sugar. We've got candy. We've got Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Doing the dew, baby.
Voodoo Mountain Dew.
2021 limited edition. Voodoo 3. Oh, he has a 3 on there.
That's the third one, yeah.
So if you guys are watching us on YouTube, then you guys get to see the costumes we're all wearing. If not, if you guys are listening to audio platforms, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, we do have a YouTube channel with some shorts uploaded already. By the time this podcast has aired, we will have had all parts of our Halloween special up on YouTube. So if you guys have not checked those out, please go to our YouTube channel, Keeping Up with the Nerds, and go check out those videos. We all worked really hard on them. I honestly enjoyed doing them, and I enjoyed watching them as well.
I enjoy seeing people that in our circle of podcasting doing things that they are not comfortable. Because that was definitely
an experience. That was an experience. But yeah, so we have a YouTube channel. Go subscribe over there, and if you want to check us out visually, you guys can go do so. Website keepingupwiththenerds.com as well, so you guys can keep up to date with all the information when we upload things. And Instagram and Twitter. Might as well do the plugs right now, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So
get them out of the way.
Everyone all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Where we're starting.
Wait, hold on. Someone's calling the store.
At this hour?
Yeah.
Can you answer it?
All right.
Brian, I told your mom that she can't call right now, all right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Chill.
Hello. What's your favorite scary movie?
That's really random, but I guess for me, I would have to say maybe Nightmare on Elm Street.
Obviously.
Timmy?
Alien for me?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Is that a horror movie?
It's a sci-fi horror.
It's a sci-fi horror.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine's Last Girl.
You all are pathetic. I see all you Squid Game, Timmy Turner, Michelangelo. You guys don't know what horror is.
All right, I told you guys. Stalkers are fun until we talk to them.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just let this guy go because we have someone else and gonna call us.
Just hang up the phone. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So if we don't make it out for the night, this episode will work as evidence.
Really? Because I kind of felt like his voice was soothing. It kind of like grabbed you around. Like
only you would think that, Nick.
It was like a security blanket. It made me feel secure.
Can we get their guest
all
on,
right,
please?
Let's call our guest right now.
Yes.
And all right. Hello?
Hello?
Hey! This voice sounds familiar.
Yes.
Does it? I don't know. I don't remember.
He was here in our last Halloween episode.
You mean a returning guest?
Yes.
What?
Guys, I've been here for like 3 months.
I don't know why you keep looking at me like I'm supposed to know.
You guys aren't excited when I walk in the door.
Welcome. Welcome, Hayden, back to the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, you know what? I was thinking about this last week. I'm just like, we have to have him back on because last time we talked to you about horror movies, that was probably the most eye-opening experience when it came to like that genre.
Yes, he definitely got me into like the whole like the B side of horror movies, like those really bad ones that are so good.
Stuff you didn't even know.
Yeah, like back in the 80s or 70s and stuff like that. He would always, I think I said this last time, he would always make sure that I go over to his house and he shows me like the most ridiculous or gory horror movie of any sorts and stuff.
Oh yes.
What was the did you talk to us about Velocipaster?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
I remember that one.
I do. Velocipaster was great.
Velocipaster. I do want to see if we can actually have like a showing of like Volcano versus Airplane or something.
What? That's a movie?
Yeah.
Volcano versus Airplane.
Has no one seen Volcano versus Airplane?
No.
I never even heard about it.
Oh wow.
This is an epic of a movie. Where a volcano,
The next Sharknado.
where a volcano takes on an airplane.
Mhm.
Renee, you can
Interesting.
remove your mask
Arch
for
nemesis.
just a bit to drink, okay? It's
Yeah.
okay. We saw what was going on.
Yeah.
Just this one. I know.
I can smell it. It
I
smells
know.
so good.
What's his name?
Just smush it through the mask.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's the good stuff.
All right, Hayden. So we wanted to bring you back on because we wanted to talk scary movies again. And one of the things I was kind of noticing this year, which is something that I hope you can kind of, enlighten us with, is that there's a resurgence of slasher movies coming back into this, coming back,
Yes, I have definitely realized that also. Definitely realized
Why do you shake your head?
The Mountain Dew.
Oh. Like you didn't like it?
Oh yeah, if Hayden, really quick,
Voodoo is voodoo don't.
because we're drinking Mountain Dew Voodoo, and it's a mystery flavor, so it's supposed to taste like a candy of some sort.
Okay.
Now, I know what it is, but Brian,
I have an idea, but I'll tell you after.
Okay.
This is supposed to taste like a candy?
Yes.
It's very powdery.
Interesting.
the year before was what?
Green apple.
That
It was
one's
candy
actually
apple.
pretty good.
And then
I had a green apple.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was
It was
candy
okay.
apple for Voodoo 2, and then Voodoo 1 was candy corn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I never
remember.
had that one.
I have a can unopened.
I know.
What is this garbage? I can't
Oh
stop
my god!
drinking.
Can we move on with the topic instead of
It's
you?
not bad, right? You kind of get used to it.
You
It's
start
like
getting used to it after the first terrible sip.
Hayden,
Mm-hmm.
slasher movies. So we have Chucky, the TV series, which just came out a couple weeks ago, actually.
Right.
We have Scream kind of coming back, not just in terms of another movie, like another, I guess, sequel, because it's not technically a reboot.
It's technically just an extending movie. It's like continuing the story because we have the main characters back.
Yes,
Well,
the ones
Yes.
that lived.
well, that's the
Yes.
benefit of Scream, though, is that you can technically reboot it and also refresh it as much as you really want because it's supposed to be making fun of the horror genre / slashers.
well, they did.
Yes.
They did do like a soft reboot, but it was with the series.
It was a TV,
Yeah, the
Scream
animated
series.
show.
And you know what? Honestly, that TV series was pretty cool.
It
The first
wasn't
two
bad.
seasons were actually not bad.
It was pretty good. Then it
Yeah.
got weird,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just kind of slipped down like that like weird avenue of like it's just like any other slasher.
Yeah.
And that was like the entire point of Scream is that it wasn't.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like they just didn't understand the property.
And then Ghostface is on Call of Duty. They brought him in as well, which was kind of a weird thing to do because technically last year for Call of Duty they did.
Zombies.
No, I'm talking about the operators that showed up. It was Jigsaw
Oh.
and Leatherface.
Yes.
And then you would think that with like 80s theme because of Cold War, you'd get something from the 80s, but no, you got Frank the Rabbit and
It was very
Ghostface.
early. It was like late 90s, early 2000s. Stuff.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, I didn't mind. I like Ghostface, so
Mhm.
that was cool.
See that blender I'm using right now.
What?
Sorry, I have chocolate in my mouth.
Yeah, I know. So it's gonna come out. It's gonna be muffled.
I'm watching Nick and he's talking. He's just shoving more candy in his mouth. I'm like, dude, you're doing a podcast. Like,
Hey, Halloween's Sunday. What do you thought?
Excuse me, sir. It's Wednesday right now.
oh yeah, but by the time this airs, Halloween already passed.
Oh
I have
yeah.
to get all my candy in now, damn it. All right. Anyway, no,
Technically speaking, November is still kind of Halloween horror release date kind of thing. So
No, November is buy your candy at half off.
Yes.
that too.
Like your
actually,
turkey.
I did see that at the Halloween store. You
Uh-huh.
really like it. So they have Connor and Ezio jackets
Oh
over at the Halloween store.
Oh yeah.
They have sweaters. They went from $60, now they're $20.
Oh,
Then I was asking the dude, and I'm like, "What happens on Monday?" And he's like, everything's half off. I'm like, I'll be back.
I shall return.
Am I missing any more slashers besides Ghostface or Scream and Chucky?
Freddy Krueger,
Freddy Krueger.
Nightmare on Elm Street, and also Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and they also just did Halloween. So
They just did
yeah.
Halloween
Michael
Kills.
Myers.
That's right. Why did I forget about Halloween?
It wasn't that good.
no, it wasn't.
Are you serious?
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new one.
It
You
kind
just
of
upset some people because
Well,
I know a couple people.
because the new Halloween, the one that just happened prior to this one,
Mhm.
was actually a really great idea.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
an interesting idea of we're just going to make sure that all the really bad Michael Myers movies, those don't count.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to kind of go as if one happened and we're going to make this a sequel to one.
Yeah.
And that's a genius idea because they've done that before.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
like the third time they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Except for the Rob Zombie one was really weird.
I loved the first one. The second one sucked.
Second one
Yeah.
was like really kind of like he tried really hard to focus on like the psychology of Michael Myers and just went out the window.
Oh yes, definitely.
Honestly, it kind of felt like Rob Zombie was going up his own ass on that one.
I agree.
I did Michael Myers so well. I'm gonna do it again. Wait.
I mean, it just because a lot of it didn't make any sense, and like he wasn't using a lot of lore and stuff like that, and because the later Michael Myers movie starts going into like the mysticism and stuff like that of like dark magic and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Michael
he's his
Myers.
uncle daddy.
Yeah,
yeah.
What?
where like it's a curse
Yeah.
slash like thing that keeps
Yeah.
bringing him back. That's why like he's so unstoppable because like it's like evil spirits bringing him back to life.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
did slashers go in that direction? Because I remember, okay, so Halloween technically it doesn't have to do anything with like the supernatural, right? Not like the first one.
The very first one is more of a it's more of like a kid goes psycho and then comes back to because he tries to murder his entire family.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
he
then
basically comes back to finish the job.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th technically has some supernatural elements,
So
but
the
not
first
really.
The first one,
No.
no, because
Uh,
it's not spoiler. Jason's not in it.
But he's at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, first Jason. Then it kind of doesn't in the same in a weird way. You can
the second
technically
one, yeah.
start saying he's like a zombie after the third movie because he gets quote unquote killed. But it's not really established that he was like a zombie until the sixth movie.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, because I think he comes back at the end of one. He's now the villain in two with the back with the sack over his head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then he comes back in 3, and then that's when he gets his hockey mask,
Yes.
and that's the Jason we know from like now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then later on, yeah, like 6, that's when you
Mhm.
start kind of finding out, like after New York. I think it's like after the Escape from New York or Jason in Broadway or
Takes
something like that.
Manhattan.
Yeah, Jason takes Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you start like getting more supernatural with Jason.
Yeah,
everything
it started with the sixth one because he comes back as a zombie, but then the seventh one he fights this girl that has like psychic powers and stuff. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Same thing with Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Ends up fighting like the Dream Warrior. Like Dream Warriors is one of like the coolest ones.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
actually really good. Yeah.
Yes.
Dream Warriors is really cool. Then you have like the entire thing of like Freddy Krueger's daughter.
Yeah.
And everything else.
Well, it's because all those horror franchises, you know, they all suffer from just so many movies, and it's like towards like the half end of it, they're like, well, what can we do? Like even at some point, Jason had a connection with the psychic girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like it had to do with the popularity. Like they kind of saw that they struck gold because all these movies, their first ones were just like awesome.
Yeah.
They were kind of, you know, their own unique thing. You had Friday the 13th, which is, you
A
know,
money grab.
yeah. But
It's total money grab
that
after
established like the
Mhm.
the slasher kind of mentality that the films would go through, you know, throughout the years.
Yes.
You had the what is it called? Child's Play.
Yes.
Child's Play as well. Child's Play, everyone referenced that as well. And then
Yeah.
you have your sequels, which are kind of like, you know, Halloween. Why am I forgetting these ones?
What is it about?
Which one?
The one that you're thinking of. What's it
Oh,
about?
Scream.
Yeah.
Scream.
Yeah, Scream as
Yeah,
well.
Scream.
So
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that Scream is it's them diagnosing the genre
Of horror,
itself,
yeah.
of horror, and like because at a certain point everything became a trope. You know, there's a group
Yeah.
of there's a group of teens. There's a psycho killer. There's always
teenager sex and partying.
like teenager
Yeah.
sex partying,
And they
then
point out the
there's always-
final girl.
and they
Yeah.
always
Mhm.
and there's always like a girl who is very pure or she's a virgin or something like that, and then you know she ends up surviving until the very end, and then she gets the one-uppance of the villain
Mhm.
and everything else, and that's kind of like the main like the tropes of, and even in Scream they list out the tropes, like never say I'm gonna be right back. What was it, like if you had sex that means most likely you're gonna die.
They referenced movies, right?
Yeah, and it referenced Halloween. It referenced those Halloween slasher films.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Because Scream was directed by Wes Craven, which he's known for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes,
so it makes sense for him to make fun of these tropes that he essentially like helped create.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the really
meta.
That's actually really fun because in Wes Craven's Last Nightmare, in Wes Craven's Last Nightmare, it's one of the last Freddy Krueger movies. Well, I mean, technically one of the last Freddy Krueger movies. Where it's a movie. It's Wes Craven, and it breaks the fourth wall, and they're actually in the real world, and now Freddy Krueger is breaking through the movies, and he's attacking the film director, and he's attacking the writers
and the actress. The actress from the first movie comes back. To play herself as an actress that was in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yeah, that's the thing. And then
she's being attacked.
Yeah, she's being attacked by the real life, like Freddy Krueger's like coming to the real world and stuff. And
like
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's breaking through the fourth wall, and he's actually attacking real people and everything else. And that one's a really cool movie too, because that's another diagnosis into what because there were so many Freddy Krueger movies at the time that they had kind of diagnosed the tropes of a Freddy Krueger movie. Yeah. And then kind of like even explained those and utilized those, which is really cool.
So Hayden, I have a question. Why are we getting this genre of horror back so soon? Because I feel like there was a video that came out by Nostalgic today. Do you follow that channel on YouTube by any chance or no?
I do not.
Okay, so Nostalgic.
I'll send you the video after this. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. But he was the people there basically kind of doing this analysis where they were looking at the death of the slasher genre, or basically like it's kind of like rest. Which basically went all the way up to about the early 2000s when The Ring came out. And The Ring kind of started this new genre of horror, which was more kind of like of the supernatural, kind of like the mystery thriller aspect of things. More demonic, religious kind of things. And that kind of started to phase out the slasher genre, because by that time we had sequel after sequel, and it was just kind of like repetitive. You know, he was mentioning that Scream was kind of like the last, of that genre that was kind of wearing out its welcome already. So,
yes, I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, and it didn't hit me until, after I watched that video.
Are you trying to say that Jason X outstayed its welcome?
Yes.
As much as I love Jason X, yes.
Want to smoke some pot?
You want to have premarital sex?
We love premarital sex.
Just beating him to death in their sleeping bags.
Sleeping bag, yeah. He grabs, he's literally smacking one of them in the sleeping bag against a tree.
Oh wow!
Best death for Jason to do.
I love it, especially because the line is, "I didn't think he was going to go through the co-ed so fast."
So you have about maybe 15 to 18 years later, you have this genre coming back, but it felt like everything beforehand was like kind of rushed through it, because the supernatural, demonic, religious horror kind of aspect of the genre, we had a good couple of years of it. Then we went through the torture porn aspect of horror, with Saw and Hostel, like all those different movies, and now we're back at slasher. So why this quick transition back to this genre? Why do you think that is?
Like anything in movies, I think it's just doing like a recycling. Like, for example, it seems like 3D always makes a comeback after like every 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's just like Hollywood in general is running out of ideas. Right. So they basically are just trying to throw anything against the wall to see if it works. And one of the things that they do is that they recycle things, but they obviously don't do it right after. They wait a few years, like a decade or two. Like I said with the 3D, it seems like every 30 years, 3D always makes a comeback. I feel like slashers are definitely in the same category, because in general, slasher movies are quote unquote one of the easier genres to make, because all you really need is a guy that's a psycho or something that kills as a body count, because you don't really have to develop the characters that well. I mean, you don't watch slasher movies for the acting or the characters. You watch to see the kills, like, and how creative they are. But at the same time with that, they can get repetitive as well. Right. To quote the great Joe Bob Briggs when he was doing his Friday the 13th marathon on TNT back in the 90s, they made the same movie 8 times. That takes talent.
Right. But
it's true.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. Just because now when you do have a slasher movie, it's not necessarily the slasher that's important. It's the theme of the movie that's behind it. Like,
Yes.
what was it? It's the one that's about Groundhog's Day. It's just like it's happy
Happy
Death
Death
Oh,
Day.
Happy Death Day.
Happy
Yeah.
Death
That
Day.
is another
It's
Freaky is another
that is
one
a
too.
Freaky
Freaky's
is
super
Yeah,
good,
Freaky's
though.
a slasher.
Yeah.
Happy Death Day. They made 2 sequels.
Yeah, there's 2 sequels to
Yeah.
Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
It's Happy Death Day, Happy Death Day 2.
Which
Freaky
I was
is
kind of
good.
shocked that they did a Happy Death Day 2, and I watched it. How can they do that again? Like, how can they basically have the girl?
Exactly the same
Keep
thing.
The
doing-
first movie
yeah.
successful, they'll make a sequel regardless of
Yeah.
what it is.
And but I really like the movie Freaky. I enjoyed a lot because it's essentially Freaky Friday.
Mhm.
But
It
with a
is.
It's
slasher,
basically.
Could
it,
you
yeah.
imagine the pitch to that? It's like, what if we took the aspect of Freaky Friday and just like murdered people? Like, you know, what
No,
if we
yeah.
did that?
Yeah.
and I really do like the concept of that, and I've seen that so many times in slasher. It kind of seems like that's the direction that slasher movies are going towards.
Yeah.
Of we need a gimmick. So what about if we were to turn, cheaper by the dozen, and then mix it with a serial killer?
A serial
You
killer.
know?
Or it's like basically that the whole family would have to be serial killers. They move into a town and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre.
Yeah, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There you
It's
go.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, essentially.
Can you
But
consider that a slasher?
What?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Or is
Oh,
that more?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a
that's
slasher.
not the. I would.
Well, go ahead.
That's a
The
difficult
first one, I would put it on like the borderline of yes, no.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after that, like the third one and on, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it also does get into that gore porn. Like later on, it really does start like really leeching into that gore porn, especially like the Rob Zombie ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the closer like Rob Zombie movies, like House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects is his
Mhm.
best movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's by far his best movie, and also like one of his best endings of a movie.
Oh yes.
Super good.
And then he made 3 from Hell, which was essentially the same movie, but in a different
the
location.
3 for Hell. I kind of feel like he wanted to make a sequel to that, but then he went like, how do I make a sequel about characters I murdered?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
perfectly. Oh, they were so evil that even the devil shot them back out.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I saw that in theaters, and
So
I was like,
stupid.
come on.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Like,
But the thing is that the other thing is that you can actually see that there is a lot of really good horror out there, and I really do think that there is more horror than just slasher movies, these gore porn or anything like that. Like you can, if you even spend 20 minutes on something like Shudder,
Yes, I agree 100%.
you could find amazing horror films that are not only scary, they're suspenseful, they're even if you're like not really like cringy towards like a lot of gore or anything like that, you could find plenty of horror films that are amazing that haven't really gotten a huge light in media or like in the movie theaters or anything like that, because it was a very small indie film, and it just got put up on Shudder and that was it. And
Mhm.
you never know about it unless you browse Shudder.
Yeah.
Yes, or you hear it from word of mouth. Or,
Yeah, or word of mouth or anything else.
I actually have a good example of what you just described. I'm a big fan of Cinemassacre, James Rolfe's channel, and he actually has a podcast which I don't really listen that often. But the one I did listen to at the beginning, he was talking about horror movies, and he brings up this movie called Rent-A-Pal.
Mhm.
And I was like, and he's describing it, and I was like, okay, I was very intrigued, so I looked it up on Hulu. I watched it, and I was like blown away by it, and I was just like, this came out last year. And this is the first time I heard about it. Like, why is no one else talking about this?
So
Or like Mandy. One of like
Mandy
Mandy,
considered-
yeah.
Mandy would definitely be considered a horror film.
Mhm.
Oh, it is definitely a psychedelic horror film.
It's a
definitely.
psychedelic horror film.
It's a
Basically.
psychedelic horror, like revenge thriller.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's really good.
Yes.
It's really good. But like I was saying, like mine, Last Girl, that's not really a big horror film.
Mhm.
I love it to death because it kind of does what Scream did for, Michael Myers, all these other ones, but they did it for like Friday the 13th, and it was like more like gore fest
Yeah.
movies. And
Mhm.
I really enjoy those types. Or
Mhm.
even what was it, like You're Next or any of
Your
those.
Next is good. Yeah.
Yeah, where the girl gets the upper hand or
Yeah.
anything else, or Hide and Seek or any of these other films.
Mhm.
There's a lot of really really good horror films out there, but unfortunately you have to kind of go looking for them. They're not like really like talked about or anything else.
No.
And it's so interesting that horror is still kind of in that way, word of mouth, where a friend needs to tell you, or you need to read a list of like, this is the horror films you should watch.
So then the better question is this then, is there a reason as to why there's so much horror out there, but you kind of have to like pick the best out of like the pile of, you know, movies that are out there? Because I've seen, or at least to me, it feels kind of like if a director wants to start up something, do a horror movie. You know, that's where some people get their start. Because James Gunn did Slither.
Yeah.
Right? But James Gunn had some, like, maybe one movie before Slither, but even
he wrote Dawn of the Dead before.
Yeah,
that.
Exactly.
he
So,
wrote
like,
Dawn of the Dead
you can,
before.
like, that, again, his startup was horror.
It's the same thing with Zack Snyder. He did Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes, he
everything
did.
else. I mean, before he became like super big with 300 and everything else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, horror films is kind of like where directors go. The thing is because a lot of times for horror films, they'll kind of hire anybody.
Oh yeah, you know what's a perfect example of that is a movie that Hayden showed me a while ago. Remember that Peter Jackson's movie that he did in his early years,
Brain Dead.
which is basically about zombies in New Zealand. You know?
Oh, yeah. You were talking about that
Yeah,
last
it
year.
basically has the famous line of a pastor doing a flip and saying there's zombies coming at him, and he's like, "I kick ass for the Lord." And it's just like he fights a bunch of zombies and
I
stuff
think you
like
showed
that.
me that clip last
you
year.
guys, you guys have seen Hobo with a Shotgun, right?
Yeah,
That was the first movie that I saw. Like I would consider like an exploitative movie back in like 2009. That just made I fell in love with it.
Yeah, Hobo with a Shotgun is really good. There's a lot of those movies that are just like really awesome. That you're like, oh dang, this is like really really. Like I'll admit, one of the later, like Rob Zombie, I feel like is really trying to touch towards his like glory days.
Yes.
And he's not, but the problem is that I feel like he's not thinking about them. He's just like, well, people come for the gore.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get to a shock factor. Like he's trying to get you to be like, you're sitting down in your seat and he's like, I'm going to throw as much blood and as much guts in your face.
Absolutely.
Until like you feel something. And like, if you're numb to it, great. We're just going to add an extra one.
Yeah. Like what was his last one? 28 or?
It was 31.
31.
31.
Well, before it was 3. 3 from Hell was his last one. I remember.
Yeah. 3 from Hell, but then there was 31.
Yes. And it was the other one was Book of Salem, I think.
Yeah. Because like I've talked to people that worked on 31, and apparently like there was a lot of like script changes. There was a lot of like things that were changed, stuff like that.
It does feel like that when you watch it too. That's the thing. It feels like they had ideas for certain characters, and then they just ended up like either killing them or just doing something else with them and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And like I've met a couple of the actors that worked on it, and they were, you know, and they said the same and everything like that. And like where exactly Rob's like mindset was like, oh, it was directed towards certain other things. People were supposed to make it to the end, but then like later on script changes, this person got killed off and different stuff like that. And but you can kind of feel that it doesn't feel like a solid
smooth
film.
and
everything else, and that's kind of a shame because Rob Zombie made a lot of really good horror films back in the day, and you know now it's kind of like I'm trying to just creep people out, like I'm just trying to like gross them out because that's what's scary.
Kind of like how Eli Roth did with his like Hostel series and stuff like that.
But Hostel was like was a different story. Yeah.
Well, Hostel was different because it was the first of its kind, really.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, Hayden. What did you mean that it was different? Like, because I we have an idea of how it's different, but like for me, I can't watch those movies, so I've seen like clips of it and kind of like had to stitch it together. I can't, like, torture porn for me is disgusting. But you know, like Hostel. Okay, well, I'll tell you. You tell us, like, what are your how's it different, and then we'll tell you ours.
So Hostel came around. I don't remember specifically when, but it was definitely like after like Saw 2 or 3 came out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. Just as a disclaimer, I love the first 3 Saw movies. I think they were excellent, and I think they should have stopped after the 3rd one. There should have been no more.
Oh, you mean after they killed him? Yes.
Yes, they should have just ended it there.
Yeah. The logical ending.
He died. I thought
no, he got his throat slit.
He got
Oh, that's right.
At the end of 3, he gets his throat slit, and then like predecessors
continue like his vision and
then like
It was the cop from the
Yeah.
first.
No, in the sequels, it's like, oh yeah, I've been working with Saw for years. Oh no, I have been working for Saw for years.
Yeah,
It's just like,
But
Hayden's like, God, don't remind me.
the point I'm trying to make is that after the third Saw movie, they started, like, Hollywood were looking at their charts and be like, hey, these gory movies are the thing people are coming for. Let's just put a bunch of torture porn in there. And that's why you see an influx of torture porn in those movies. Hostel was more, in my view, the same as like the first three Saw movies, because it really isn't the whole movie is not a gore fest. It's just basically the first half is you're just following some dudes going through Europe, and then they get like caught up in this like woman's hostel, whatever, and then you discover that they're being tortured by like a bunch of rich people.
Yeah, isn't it also like, because I remember, if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I've seen Hostel, it also goes through like the economics. It's like it even talks about like the economics of Europe for a little bit, and it starts talking about like, oh yeah, like this is why they choose certain people, like certain travelers and everything else, and like they really do try to ground Hostel, and make it scary.
Yeah, they're trying to ground it in reality because, like I said, it's basically a bunch of rich people that basically went through their lives like, oh, I pretty much did everything.
Yeah, and
because I'm rich.
It really does take that the note from like The Greatest Game, where like the greatest game I can ever hunt is a human, and it really does kind of like put that element in it of like, oh well, like I could torture an animal and do this, but like doing it to a human is way more satisfying for for whatever reason.
I remember, now that you guys are talking about this, because that completely slipped my mind, but I feel like it's funny to me how people always say that audiences of a specific movie kind of ruin it because they start doing the stupid things they see in the movie. Like, for example, in Squid Game, they're calling the phone number that was on the card and they had to disconnect that number. But I remember that when Hostel came out, there was a massive fear. One, the controversy was that it was too graphic.
It was also people were afraid to travel.
Exactly, they were afraid to travel because they were afraid of being kidnapped, and that this was actually a reality. Then you had Nightmare on Elm Street as well. When that came out, people were afraid.
Well, I feel like it's the same thing that kind of happened for Tusk, where Eli Roth probably read a news story of people going missing in Europe, and then from there it kind of ballooned and everything like that, because like that's how Tusk happened, where Kevin Smith was on one of his podcasts. I think he was on Smodcast, and they were reading off news from Canada, and then that's when they read somebody was renting out a room and everything else, and then he goes, and like it talks about like this walrus and everything like that, and then exactly the same ad that's in Tusk, that's the same ad, and then they both started breaking it down and going and then turning it into this horror film that eventually they ended up making and stuff like that. So I could imagine Eli Roth probably read a story of like Americans going to Europe backpacking, and then they disappear, and then kind of like unraveled, like what about if they were kidnapped by like the rich, and then they were like tortured to death and for money and everything like that. And I can kind of see how it would unravel that way.
So I know, Hayden, you have to be going soon, but I've got a quick question to kind of wrap around back to the slasher topic. We're going to be getting these sequels again. This is kind of like we mentioned it at the beginning. This is the resurgence, right? But we know, we kind of know for a fact that usually when a genre comes back and it's doing its resurgence, they fall victim to its tropes again. And it feels like, we're just getting the same thing that we got back then, but with better technology. What do you expect, or what do you feel makes a good slasher movie? Is it the death? Is it the blood and gore? Is it the thrilling aspect of it? The characters? What do you feel, what do you feel makes a slasher movie?
What makes a good slasher movie? So the biggest thing as of right now, like in 2021 and going on, if you want to make a good slasher movie, you have to establish right off the bat that you should not take this movie seriously, because slasher movies are nothing but tropes. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to do it well. You're not going to like make a new wheel, but you can at least make the wheel nice to where it's like enjoyable. The prime example that I think of a good modern slasher is the Hatchet series. If you guys have not heard of the Hatchet series.
I haven't.
It's essentially Friday the 13th in Louisiana.
Okay.
and a lot more gory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a lot more.
Like you get to see like someone's head being like removed from like the mouth here.
Yeah, like it's
And
ripped
just
open.
ripped open.
Ripped
from the
open.
That's
mouth.
fun. That's fun.
Or my favorite kills from Hatchet 2, where he gets a really long chainsaw and goes up from the crotch up, and you see two little things hanging out,
Mhm.
just like as they're being chopped in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But those movies, you already know. Okay, I'm not taking this seriously. The story's not serious. Like the kills aren't serious. Just like you have to have it be as entertaining as possible. Just go all out. I'll use another example that is a bad example. Halloween Kills. I just saw that 2 days ago.
Yeah,
and
tell me why, Hayden, because I thought it was. Look, my fiance's sister raved about this movie, and she loves horror. So I kind of took her word for it that it was okay.
Okay.
But you and Nick are saying, no, this sucked.
Oh yeah,
It
I'm
sucked.
saying it too. Yeah.
Oh, Renee
Yeah,
says it sucked.
the first 5 minutes was really cool.
I like the flashback idea because I was watching it and I'm like, he didn't do this, and I remembered, Halloween 2, the original one didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to like remind myself, like, yeah, that didn't happen. That
Yeah,
didn't
he-
happen. But-
yeah, they never go to the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never
yeah, I never go to the hospital.
never go to the
Like
hospital or anything else.
whatever. So the
Whatever you
thing,
wanna say.
so I went to California last weekend and I saw Renee and I asked him about it, and I told him not to spoil because my friend Brandon here told me to watch it, and I'm like, okay, so I know out of the hand this is either really good or really bad. So I remember asking Renee, like, did you see it? And he said yes, and I'm like, what do you think? But don't give me too many spoilers. And he's like, well, Danny McBride wrote this. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Danny McBride and the director that directed this movie also directed with Danny McBride in mind and writing it as well too, wrote or did that movie Your Highness with James Franco and Danny McBride.
It's not a great team up.
yeah.
No, it is not. And so I'm watching this movie, Halloween Kills, and it just kind of like dawned on me on how they tried to write this as a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
That is the wrong approach to any slasher movie.
They
especially
made,
Michael Myers.
wait,
especially
Halloween Kills.
Michael
You're saying
Myers.
Halloween Kills is a comedy?
It
It's
has
written
it has
as a
movie. It has moments that should be funny.
Yes,
Like,
but they're
it-
so bad. You just like look at it and be like, really?
And that kind of takes you out of the suspense of Halloween, because in the first one that they just did about like 2 years ago, I think that one was really suspenseful. It made you feel like you were back in the original Halloween.
And characters made at least somewhat of like smarter
Logics.
decisions.
Yeah,
Logic
smarter
decisions.
decisions.
They use logic.
Yeah, and in this one, everyone's kind of a little dumbed down, and they shoot like they're stormtroopers.
Yeah, stormtroopers can hit Michael Myers better than these people. Even okay, so there's a scene. I'm gonna spoil. There's a scene where
Spoiler,
Michael Myers
guys,
is like
yeah.
Spoiler.
Michael Myers is like in a car, like killing somebody, and this girl, literally with a fucking deagle. Sorry for cussing,
That's all
but
good.
this got me really mad when I saw it. So she has a Desert Eagle, a 50 caliber round pistol, and she literally brings it up, shoots it right in like 2 feet in front of Michael, misses. Michael literally swings the door open, hits the gun, she shoots herself in the head.
Yeah, she goes like this. The door hits her hand, goes like this, and the gun goes off and shoots herself in the face.
Genius.
When I saw that, I was like, "What?"
You paused it and you like walked out of theaters like, I'm done.
No, but that's but honestly, that is kind of like, because what I wanted to see is I wanted to see like old school Halloween. I wanted to see like Michael Myers stab a kid, hang him up on the wall, and then just like admire his work and like stare at it and stuff like, because that's creepy. That's really interesting.
And I wanted to see him take on the town, because that's what they were also selling in the trailers, that the
Right.
whole town is like coming together
To kill Michael.
To kill
To kill
Michael.
Michael.
But I was like, oh, okay, but this is Michael Myers we're talking about, so I want to see him just like plow through people.
But I do feel that for Michael Myers kills, they went more the Friday the 13th route with the kills, where because Friday the 13th has a lot of comedic kills, where it's like it's pretty funny the way that Jason.
But that's its
kills
trope.
people. But that's Jason's trope, is that it's not supposed to be funny, but like the fact that Jason just like walks through a building and then just like folds a guy in half. as he walks
Yeah.
as he's walking down a hallway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious. Like it's just
Or he like slaps a machete on a guy that's on a wheelchair, and the wheelchair is just like falling back and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
down the stairs.
yeah, like, down the stairs. Like Jason is, if anything, Jason Voorhees is hilarious. Like he has the great for a zombie.
Mhm.
He's got some great slapstick. So.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm trying to make though. When the people wrote those movies, they did not intend it to be funny. It
Mhm.
just happened to be funny.
Yeah.
These people now with modern slasher movies, they're trying to make comedic elements in them on purpose.
Right.
They're trying to recycle elements and tropes that have existed before and put their own twist on it, not realizing that it's got to be more respectful
Well,
towards.
yeah, like
the old stuff.
the movie Hide and Seek. I actually really enjoyed that.
That's
movie.
a really good movie. Actually.
That movie's actually really good. I enjoyed it. It's a girl who's on her own and basically being hunted down by her family or her
family and
the family
Her-
that she's
she's married,
married
right?
into.
She gets married, and then they have to play a game.
Yeah, they have to play a game, and then if she loses, when they kill her, they get to live forever. They
Yeah.
basically get all the riches in the world, everything like that.
Mhm.
But if they aren't able to kill her by dawn after they get married, then whatever
Something bad happens to
yeah,
them.
then something bad happens. Apparently, the spirit, the devil that they made a deal with, or the demon they made a deal with, will take everything away, including their lives. So they're trying as hard as possible to kill her, but they keep dying in comedic ways. And I do feel that they do pull it kind of from Steve and Dave, or what is it? Dave and Steve versus the world, or
Tucker and Dale
Tucker and Dale versus
Evil.
Versus Evil.
Yeah.
Because that movie has great comedic elements. That
Yes.
movie is hilarious,
Well-
and it's a great horror film.
What I love about
That's
Tucker
swapped.
and Dale,
That's swapped.
It's so great because it's that whole swap thing where it's like, it's the classic like teenagers going out to camp and they run into these crazy hillbillies, but really in reality these hillbillies are just like wanting to just have their own vacation themselves, and then just one by one the kids are just killing themselves. They're just killing themselves.
Yeah, like there's one kid who, like, they have a wood chipper, and then like he's like throwing wood into the wood chipper,
Uh-huh.
and then the kid's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him," and then like he starts running at the guy to push him into the wood chipper at full sprint,
Yeah.
and then like you just see him like
Just
move.
jumps in.
Yeah, he sees him and like moves out of the way, and the kid just jumps straight into the wood chipper and like kills himself, and he's like, "What's up with all these suicidal teens up here, man?
I gotta hide all the knives.
all the knives, they're gonna kill themselves."
So we've mentioned Ghostface, we've mentioned Jason Voorhees, we've mentioned Freddy Krueger,
Mhm.
we've mentioned Michael Myers. Is Child's Play not something that we should be referencing? Because for me, because I grew up on these slasher films, like, I was kind of like forced to with my cousins and stuff. Child's Play was one of those that kind of stuck with me though, because it was the funny slasher. It was like, the way it was set up was just so obscure, so weird that it didn't sell me that this was ever going to be a possibility.
It's a toy.
It's a toy.
Mhm.
It's a doll. And, the funny thing about it was these people would pick up the doll and like think that it was a normal doll. And then all of a sudden Chucky would come alive and basically be like, you and like, start stabbing him.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
That's essentially the movie. That's,
Yeah.
I just
that's
love
basically the entire movie. in
I love
30 seconds.
rewatching Child's Play because the first time when Chucky reveals himself to be like a living doll, it's just so funny because you see the normal doll, which
normal
looks
face.
cute, and then like you see the animatronic face that gets all angry. He's like, "You stupid!" And it's like his legs are just flailing. Yeah.
So that's why, like, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it because the series came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and people love it. I haven't seen it yet.
What's great,
I have to.
I think what's great about it is just because it's also so far in the last kind of like Chucky movies that came out, they were good, but they never really referenced the full like series of it,
The lore.
of it. It's just kind of like Chucky, like let's keep going with Chucky, let's see how far, and like it was like let's take Chucky to Hollywood.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then let's have Chucky basically give birth to kids and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
it's
up-
kind of
what's
like the Leprechaun series where they go in space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Leprechaun did the same thing. Same thing with Gremlins.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
well.
Gremlins.
Yeah,
Gremlins,
but
yeah.
What about Critters?
Ooh, critters.
Tremors.
Tremors. Oh, Tremors, yeah.
Isn't that also Jack Frost?
Oh yeah.
Jack-
Oh yeah, I
Wow.
showed. I was the one that showed Hayden Jack Frost.
Oh
and,
yes,
and he
That
loves
movie,
it.
that movie is
I watch
so,
it every year.
Yeah,
it's so bad, it's amazing.
yeah. What I love about Jack Frost is like when you find out the weakness of Jack Frost is antifreeze,
Yeah.
and it's because the kid made oatmeal for his dad in a bag, and he's like, "What'd you put in the oats, son?" Because he shoves the oats in Jack Frost's face, and he's all melting and everything. And he's like, "I didn't want you to get cold, so I put some antifreeze in your oats." I'm like, "What the hell?" Like,
He's gonna kill his dad.
Or it's not as bad as in the second Jack Frost one. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a Jack Frost 2.
yes,
where they're
and he
in
goes into
Hawaii.
like, yeah, he goes to Hawaii.
Yeah,
Like,
where it's literally a snowman killing people in Hawaii.
yeah.
no snowballs.
Oh yeah, his
Snowballs.
snowballs.
That's right.
So
that series is genius.
before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I think the thing that kind of stuck out with me was that the talk about how like these slasher guys have iconic ways to kill people.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention it because for Call of Duty, did you buy the pack by any chance, Nick? Yeah, right. So the takedown. I don't know if you've seen it, Renee or Hayden.
Go ahead.
Ray, you don't play Call of Duty, do you?
I used to.
Used to. Okay, so
his assassination.
his takedown. When you buy the Ghostface pack, his assassination is he sneaks up behind you, stabs you through the front, and then lifts the knife up. So it's like the original kill from was it Scream 1, right?
It's Drew Barrymore's kill.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's that one, and you're just like, oh, that's so cool. So you have that one, Jason's signature one. There's a bunch of them,
Mhm.
but the one that sticks out with me is the one where the kid's in the sleeping bag and you start slamming him on the tree.
Mhm.
With Nightmare on Elm Street, the kid that goes through the bed and gets blended up, and there's a guy's
Oh, yeah,
Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp's
Sorry,
That's
character.
Johnny Depp.
character.
Yeah. So like you have all those, so I think that kind of stuck out
Which
with me.
I also forgot. Kevin Bacon is in the first Friday.
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
he gets
I,
an
His
arrow
first
through his
movie.
neck.
I think it's an arrow through his neck, but I
Yeah.
totally forgot
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Bacon was in that movie until I rewatched it.
I
What's
didn't
great about
realize that Elijah Wood was in a horror movie as well.
oh,
They did that-
recently?
No, this apparently that's how he's going to start.
What movie was that?
It's in the nostalgic film because he's like, oh yeah, horror movies in the early 2000s were a way for young actors to kind of get their start.
Yeah.
We mentioned Elijah Woods. I'm like, what the hell? That's how Elijah Woods came to be.
Well, he's done like recent horror movies as
Yeah,
well too.
I know he's done
Yeah.
recent. I don't know
Yeah.
what he did
But like,
before.
yeah, but like Johnny Depp, I think was still working on 21 Jump Street at
Mhm.
the time. He was
Mhm.
actually a really big
Yeah.
name for the movie that they got.
And then Jennifer Aniston was in the first Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Yeah,
Courtney Cox was in the first Scream.
yes.
Yeah, Courtney Cox was in
Cox
the
was
first
in
Scream.
all the Screams
Yeah, but
for the most
Movie.
part.
Yeah. And
she's
then-
coming back for this new one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the interesting. Okay, I think I understand why people like the new Chucky series though.
Mhm.
So the new Child's Play series, I think, is because it does do a little bit of a twist, because it's a kid who really likes the good guy doll,
Mhm.
Chucky, and then Chucky starts hurting the people that's hurt him.
Mhm.
Like he starts like the bully that keeps on picking on the kid. Chucky kills him.
Spoiler.
Spoilers. Yes. I should have.
I mean, it's Chucky. Someone's gonna die.
someone's gonna die.
Oh
But-
no, the
Someone
whole
gonna
Chucky,
die today.
Chucky series. You watch the whole thing. No one dies.
No,
Plot
but,
twist.
no, but the interesting thing is that the kid isn't upset about it.
Yeah.
He's embracing Chucky.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things of like, what were to happen if Chucky were to meet somebody that was actually accepting of him?
So you're saying it's a better version of Satan's Little Helper?
Yes.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Satan's
basically.
It's a
Little
more
Helper.
acceptable
Oh, my
version
God.
of that. Hayden, you got any last thoughts that you want to kind of put out there?
Slashers are always going to be great, but don't take them too seriously.
Mhm.
Oh, also, Hayden, can you give us 3 recommendations
Ooh,
for
Of slashers?
of horror films that people should go check out? Something that horror films that
okay.
people haven't really, they're not in the mainstream or anything like that. Go check them
Ooh.
out.
Here
Let's
we
do
go.
one.
Okay.
One that's palatable for normal audiences.
Like
Okay.
Brian.
Sure. One that's going to be like, if they're kind of getting a little extreme, they're going to get in there. They want to see some little bit of gore and stuff like that. And then one for like the hardcore, like,
Mhm.
Serbian film people.
Have
Okay.
you seen Serbian film?
No.
I should show it to you.
I will not. Brian, don't watch that movie.
No, boy.
I'm telling you this as someone that has watched it and I'm a fan.
I've watched it twice.
I do not want Brian to see this because I actually want him to watch the movies I recommend. And I know
So
that
that's
if I
why
show him that, he's gonna be like, never
I actually
again.
really want to watch via VHS because
the
Shudder.
series is coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I kind of want to watch VHS.
VHS, you're not gonna sleep, bro. Those are actually really good.
Yeah, I know.
They're
That's why
really good ones. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Okay,
It's fine.
Hayden, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Hayden.
All right, Hayden, go
Okay,
ahead.
so for the one that's palatable, I will recommend the newest one I saw that I mentioned earlier in this podcast, Rent a
yeah.
Pal.
Rent a
It's
Pal.
on it's on Hulu.
Okay.
That's how I watched it. It's not really a horror, but it's more of a thriller, but it has horror-esque elements in it. So it's kind of like on the border, but I would consider it a horror movie still.
Okay.
It's definitely very palatable. Anyone can really watch it. It's a little freaky, but it's not like really graphic.
Okay.
All right. All right.
The second was, which one was that? Like total like gore fest.
They're trying to dip their feet in, but not like, you know, they watch Saw, but that's about to their extent.
Basically, like horror fans would enjoy.
Yeah.
Only horror fans would enjoy. I need to think about this one for a second.
Well, while he thinks, I actually have something to recommend that I'm watching now is Midnight Mass.
Oh, I
Okay.
want to watch that one.
It's actually really good.
Yeah,
It's by the same people that did The Haunting on Hill House.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And they recycle the same actors, some of them at least.
Yeah.
So you'll recognize a lot of people, but it's actually really good. I'm like on episode 5, and it's
They're an
so
hour
good.
long.
They're an hour. That's what I love. I'm like, yes, they're not like 40 minutes. They feel like a movie. You're watching it.
Seeing the episode lengths for Squid Games kind of like freaked me out, and
Wow.
I really had to like
Mhm.
buckle down and watch it. So
Yeah.
if Midnight Mass is your rec, I'll probably like
It's-
watch it.
It's one of those things where it's like it's all background scares.
Yeah.
Right.
It's super good. I love that.
And you got your rec?
I think I do. It is definitely a Grindhouse film. It's
Ooh.
a Grindhouse classic, and that movie will be Pieces.
Oh yeah, that's on Shudder actually. Yeah.
That is on Shudder. That is all Shudder. Just as a disclaimer, this movie is the prime example of what low grade trash is. I mean, Renee can contest this.
Yeah.
Renee can watch it.
Yes.
But it's good.
I feel like when you're going into horror, that's probably something that you should always be keeping in mind. Like, this isn't going to be an Oscar award-winning performance,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Like there was a movie that me and Hayden saw together. I think it was on Shudder, and it was the one about the hobos. Remember about the homeless people
The homeless people.
when they like eat this.
Oh, street trash.
Street trash. We thought it was gonna be something good, and it ended up being like really bad, but like to the point where it was almost kind of boring at the same time. But you're just seeing how like these people die. That's the whole reason you're watching the movie.
Nothing's worse than a boring horror film.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we kept
Nothing is
going.
worse.
We kept going to like maybe it gets better. You know, maybe like no, it doesn't.
I remember a buddy of mine back when Xbox used to have the share a Netflix.
Uh-huh.
You can watch Netflix
The
with other
party.
people. The
Oh
party,
yeah.
that party watch.
Mhm.
We for like 3 or 4 weeks straight, we kept on doing the looking inside the rating section
Mhm.
for the lowest rated movies and watching them,
Yeah.
like especially low rated horror films.
Yeah.
and going like, let's just watch
Swamp
them.
Ape.
Yeah.
Swamp Ape. Oh yeah.
But like let's watch them and let's see how bad they are. And then halfway through, we're just like, bro, I'm so like either I'm bored or I really just don't.
tired.
I'm like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like a great example of a terrible horror film
Mhm.
would either be the remake of House of Wax
Mhm.
or
Okay.
House of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I recently rewatched House of the Dead like a year ago, and I was like, this movie is. Ugh. I was like, I can't.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
I can't.
it's
House
not
of the
even-
Dead based on the video game?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
It's a horror movie that I feel like doesn't know it's a horror movie at times.
Yeah, it doesn't. It
And-
tries to be very stylish,
Uh-huh.
but it's
It's
just
really bad.
annoying with these like shots that they would do, and the editing is so bad.
Yeah, it's like somebody. It's literally like somebody went, let's make a horror film, and then let's do like some Matrix style like shooting
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
It's
and
an on-rail shooter, though, so I get it.
No, but it's just so bad. Not only that, but also the cuts from scene to scene had shots from the video game.
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was
no.
bad. It was really bad.
Hayden, what's your last recommendation?
I think you
And that you say it was like Serbian film level, correct?
Yes.
I will have to pick
Serbian
Blood
film.
Sucking Freaks.
that's a
Oh,
good one,
blood
too.
sucking freaks.
I showed
Yeah.
Renee that one when I saw him
I
last
thought
year.
I thought
and
you were gonna say Poughkeepsie tapes.
Oh, the
Say it again?
Poughkeepsie tapes. Yeah, those.
Oh,
That's
Gypsy.
that one's not bad, but it ends kind of weird. But no, but blood sucking freaks is that's for like horror fans. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I showed it to Renee, and he was just like, "Whoa."
It's from the 70s too. That's the thing.
So
And they push the limit in that one.
All right. Well, Hayden, thank you very much for joining us, dude. Honestly,
problem.
it's always a pleasure having you, and hopefully you can join us again next year. Where can people find you at in case they want to follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Hellmouth_94 for my like horror reviews, anything like music related. And if you just want to follow me on my personal account, you can do Have You Met Hayden with underscores in between each word.
Perfect. All right. Hayden, thank you once again for joining us here at Keeping Up with the Nerds. We really appreciate your insight on horror. And I think every year, you always open up our mind. I don't know what's going to happen next year. We might get a resurgence of a different kind of movie, or slashers continuing strong. We don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Just have to wait and see.
Yes. All right, Hayden, thank you so much. We'll talk later, right, man?
Okay. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
See you
You
later,
too.
buddy.
Scary.
See you, buddy.
See you later. Bye.
All right.
All right.
Are we good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna take off this because I was looking at the time. I'm like, okay, we're an hour in. I think I
That's-
served like.
Dude, literally, like this thing is so rough. That
Uh-huh.
Every single time I blink,
Uh-huh.
I'm scratching on the
I
side of this. And I was just like, at a certain point, like my eye was just like, all right, I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
the
I
bit's
saw
over.
as you were talking more, this thing just kept going up and up, and your eyes were like all the way up to here to the point that I only saw half your eye. I'm like, all right.
I was like, oh man, this is terrible. This is
All right,
terrible.
so that
Oh,
was
man.
our horror portion of that podcast. And Hayden always kind of like opens up my eyes to horror. I'm not a big horror fan,
Yeah.
but like I feel like anytime I talk, horror with people that actually know it, like
Yeah.
actually,
That actually
know
are
it.
like the know of like
not
the
just
history
like
and stuff.
I
Yeah,
watch Texas Chainsaw because it's so great. No, just
I like.
No, dude.
I put on Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I'm like having sex, like like those type of people. I've met those type of people. Like, yeah,
I
See.
get it. I get it.
no, but
Yeah.
I get it.
I feel like
That's why you watch House of a Thousand Corpses.
that's what you do, Nick. That's not.
It's always better when they're cold.
I'll put it this way: when we were working on our little horror short films or short videos,
Right.
Mhm.
I can kind of see why the genre is kind of easy to pick up in terms of like direction and stuff.
Mhm.
You can also add your own flair to it as well.
But that's like the cool part. But the most interesting thing about horror films is like the ones that really take off are the things that frighten people. Like the idea of like, I know that like when Wes Craven did Friday the 13th, he had first written it, and the entire point of it was that he had a nightmare that he had died in his sleep.
Yeah.
And then he had also like read this what was it, like this article that was about like, oh yeah, like a bunch of people like they were having like terrible nightmares, and then they just passed away in their sleep with no like, and nobody knew what happened to them.
Yeah.
And he thought it was such an interesting idea of like, what about if there was a spirit that was hunting you in your sleep
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Same thing with John Carpenter and what was it Halloween and all that. Like I believe the financier for Halloween even told him like, yeah, like I don't want any blood in this movie. And that's the whole reason why it's bloodless. Like there's not a whole lot. I think there's blood in the very beginning
Yeah,
With the knife.
with the knife, but that's about it. He basically wanted to do very Hitchcockian,
yeah.
where like it's very like you can assume that there's blood and everything like that, or we're gonna use a lot of dark lighting and stuff like that with like not a whole lot of light, very natural lighting, and it's gonna be really hard to kind of see stuff.
So
Mhm.
like, because I'm thinking about it, it's like I feel like every good horror movie has like a signature of that director or the people that worked on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when it comes down to it, The Exorcist, for example, like for me, what sticks out in The Exorcist, if we're gonna talk scenes, the scene when the girl turns her head 180 degrees.
Yes.
But the thing that always sticks out with me when when someone mentions The Exorcist is the cover photo, the poster of the priest about to walk into the house, and it's black and white, and you see the lamppost.
right.
So that, and we did that in our second video.
Yeah.
When we filmed you parking the car in. That scene stuck with me. As soon as I put that camera out there, I'm like, that reminds me of that thing. By the time this comes out, all the videos are going to be up on YouTube. So I feel like we can talk about, how we kind of approached everything.
Right.
Renee's story we could have easily done like another, girl behind the scenes, ooh, it pops out. But I think that there isn't a lot of that, because when it comes down to it, most of these horror films that really focus on that tend to have jump scares.
Yes.
And that entire video had no jump scares.
No.
But as Andy was watching it, she said that she always anticipated something was going to pop out, and nothing did.
Same thing with my sister. Yeah. She
Yeah.
thought something was going to pop out. We're like, no,
nothing does. So it's the anticipation. The second one, Nick's story, we thought of it on the spot when we were like, okay, we can easily make this like a slasher, because your initial idea was Disturbia-esque kind of thing.
It was Disturbia-esque, but the idea was, what if, because Disturbia or Man in the Window, like what would happen if they saw somebody murdering somebody, and then when the killer went to their house to go kill them, they found out that the person that was watching them kill somebody is an even bigger serial killer. Like they're actually the big wolf inside of that, like inside the neighborhood and stuff like that.
So we had all of that pretty much planned out. And then when it came down to filming, we were like, well, this is going to take up too much time, especially since we started late. We went towards the slasher genre. We adapted that idea. And then we said, okay, well, how can we make this unique? Well, let's grab the most innocent looking girl and make her the killer, because no one would expect it.
Right.
And who's the most innocent? Andy. You don't think that she would. And as we were filming it,
Andy got terrified at certain points, especially when she was waving around that knife.
I just want to say that I didn't see any of the filming. I was too busy with the trying to keep Joey busy. Like, I'm just like rubbing his belly the whole time.
Please tell me at the very end of it says Renee Bravo, animal handler. Because I really want it for at the very end of it, just for people
you'll
to
have
go
to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see.
What animal was in that? what animal was in that?
Andy's willingness to kill. And then my story has to do with the story that I told
with
last year.
With your own personal experience.
With the sleep paralysis. And in that one, it's more of like the comfort of, well, not comfort, but I would say like the anticipation and not wanting to go to sleep again. This is like Friday the 13th in that sense. Right. Being afraid to die in your sleep and stuff. That's kind of what I went through. But for me, as I was watching my sleep paralysis demon, every time I would see him, I wouldn't be scared about it. And this one, it was more kind of like, yes, I am a little bit afraid, don't know what's going on. And that's kind of what it is. There's no actual like, death or anything, but that's kind of what it is. And granted, we're not, professionals in any way. We're, I wouldn't even say that we're amateur level, but I think that we could potentially.
They were good short films.
They were good short.
I mean, when you put them all together, it's a solid short film.
It's a solid anthology.
It's a solid anthology movie and everything else. I at this point, I haven't seen mine, and I know I haven't seen yours.
No.
We've seen Renee's.
Yeah.
They're going to be coming out because we're filming this on a Friday. There's 2 days left in October, so they should be out hopefully by the end of October.
Okay, so they should be out either tomorrow or the next day.
Exactly. So by the time this comes out, it should be out.
They should all be up, and I think we're also going to be putting it up on the website, all three of them together.
Renee had the idea of putting them together. That might take a little bit of time because as I'm editing everything, I add like, Keeping Up with the Nerds Presents, and then it starts. So I have to kind of stitch it together and do kind of like a director's cut of it all.
Yeah.
Right.
So that'll be put together afterwards, and it's a fun process.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing like the finished product of it. I thought it was really funny though that there was a lot of things where like we all had an idea of how certain stuff was going to come out.
Yeah.
And then like all three of us kind of had like at certain points like, what about if I did this?
Yeah.
Like what about like
honestly, no, every single short we did, it was like, well, that was good, but what if we did it this way? We're just like, because we see the environments that we're in, and we're like, you start looking around, and you're like, wait, we can do another part where we do it maybe a different
because I have to
way.
admit in yours, the smoke is terrifying.
Yeah,
because you don't know where it's coming from, and it's so terrifying to watch, even without editing. Like we saw it raw, like right after the shot, and I remember you going like, yeah, that's a pretty sick shot. Like, it's a pretty sick shot.
If we're gonna grab anything from this, I think while doing all this, I find this really funny. Yeah. We started doing this podcast just to kind of mess around and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And within a year, we're already kind of like doing these sorts of things.
Yeah.
They're not professional anyways, but I'd like to think that we're learning something from this.
No, yeah.
As producers, we learned our ways. We learned our signatures and how we can work things around. You have your idea of what makes this kind of like for your little short bits. You have an idea of how you want to work things. And then you realize as it's going into the real world, you're like, oh crap, maybe this isn't going to work the way I wanted to. Let's go ahead and change it this way. I'll tell you right now, I directed, I directed mine, but I directed on both of yours.
Right.
And when it came down to it, what I picked up on it was I have to learn how to direct and work with people that might not be comfortable with certain aspects.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Andy, because Andy.
I like how you immediately went Andy.
No, because she doesn't act.
She was very nervous.
Yeah, at first she was, yeah.
And everything else, but that was the reason why, because like in the video you guys will see, a lot of the stuff I did for her, where like I would act it out first, and it was kind of, and I thought it was really interesting because it was, seeing as it was my idea, it was very interesting to kind of like show her this is what I had in mind.
Yeah.
Like this is like when we had thought of this is what I was like kind of thinking, and this is like the amount of like cruelty, and like this is how much like like scariness I wanted to see, narcissism, and I thought that was really cool. And I was even asking you in your house, I was like, can we do these specific shots? And then you were like, I'm like, no.
You did have some good ideas though, where like you told me to put the camera up above your head so that it gave you that kind of like, that like claustrophobia, captured moment.
And the mirror and everything like that. Those were really sick shots that I really liked. The knife against the mouth though, I'm wondering how that looked, if you even used it.
I still have to piece that part together. So right now, as we're recording, it's still kind of like in that process of like,
I don't know if Renee,
final cuts.
I don't know if Renee heard us arguing.
I didn't see anything.
I don't know if you heard us arguing in the
room.
No,
I heard that. Yeah.
No,
because Brian was very cautious with the knife. I remember hearing that conversation. Because Brian was so cautious with the knife. He's like, didn't want.
Look, I don't. Okay, here's the thing. We were. How can I put this so it doesn't sound kind of wrong?
We were using a dull knife.
We were very careful, and this was filmed before the Alec Baldwin incident. That's why. That's why
I thought it was the day.
No, it was the day of. It was the day.
Was it the day of?
It was the day of
when we were filming.
Okay, because
we were talking about it in the house, and then that's why you were like, "Oh, no, we're not going to do anything like sketchy with the knife. Like we have to be as
you were just
safe,
like have her like run it through my mouth, and I'm like, no, I'm like don't.
That would be
awesome. Cool, but
it's
recent events, current events didn't happen.
No, but the thing was is that but he had my permission. I was the one telling you to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had his consent.
But also,
I did, and I understood. And honestly, I had a couple of ideas if she didn't want to do it anyway.
But also, I don't want to be, let's say that down the line, 10 years from now, I'm professionally directing, a multi-million-dollar movie, right? And then I say, one of my first things I did, I accidentally cut someone's mouth off, and you can ask him how he got those scars, and then Nick goes like, I'm the Joker now.
I'm the Joker, baby.
No, but honestly, but the thing is that I now understand why it's called a gag.
We actually had some bloopers that we did for specifically yours.
Oh man, do I run
it?
Is
there a lot of bloopers on mine?
Not bloopers, but like there's like little bits that we did, like when you were driving.
Should I do a blooper reel? Because so as we were doing yours, I was going through it, and
there's some
where
bloopers,
you were walking out that way.
Yeah, I was like, nope,
nope, do it again,
because people kept walking by. Because mine's out already. But like the scene where my niece is standing in the window and I see her, right?
Yeah.
We were trying to time that so well because it was a Friday night and it was super busy. You guys heard the place across the street, but it was good that you used that though too. It shows that like there's stuff happening.
So I tried my hardest again. I really tried, and I'm a stickler when it comes to like putting things together. I wanted to be as perfect as possible.
Right.
And there were a couple mistakes in there where I was realizing, I'm like, there's nothing I could do. But if this goddamn club across the street could just shut up for a moment, I would easily do it. Thank God YouTube, and thank God we're not getting monetized yet. But like, the scene where you walk out of the store, the song's blaring out there, and Andy's looking at it, she's like, you're not going to get copy struck by that? I'm like, hopefully not. And luckily it didn't pick it up anything.
No, I think it was because it did like, it wasn't even in the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
which is good.
Well, not only that, but also it's from a distance.
Yeah.
It's not. It's because it's not on the main audio. It's a background. It's like a distant background music. So I think it should be fine.
Yeah.
Got away with it.
But like I was saying, there was just we were trying to get a perfect shot in the perfect amount of time of her standing there. But the thing was, again, it was a busy Friday night. Everyone was out and about.
I think that was the Friday I was out of town.
You were out of town.
I was out of town that weekend. Yeah.
So we had to time it. And then, but the thing was, people just kept walking back and forth, and they kept looking at my niece, and they're like, "Are you okay?" They're like, you can
Like,
see that
what
the legit concern, because the way she's dressed too is just like
She's looking through an empty turn because the lights are turned off.
All the lights are they're all turned off, and just people are like,
the hell?
legitly concerned.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I would say this as the first big project that we've done. I'm proud that we did what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot out of it.
Right.
And I really hope that this is a stepping stone for us to keep doing more.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I wouldn't mind to do like more, like we can do something for Christmas and stuff like that. I think that
Maybe.
Gremlins. Keeping up with the Nerds Presents Gremlins.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
I-
stuff that we can do in like little shorts that we can all, because I mean we're not new to doing shorts or
No.
anything like that.
Luckily, I'm only doing 2 jobs twice a week instead of 4 times a week.
Yeah.
This means that my ass could be behind a desk now editing
And not us.
more often. And
Does that mean you're gonna go back and do some videos that we never released?
yeah, I still have to do your guys' DC fandom stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I only released mine, and then I was just like, oh my god, dude, because last week I was so burned out.
I just forgot about that, actually.
I actually did forget about
and
it too.
yours
Yeah.
is pretty funny, and yours is funny too, because
Mhm.
yours has a funny intro at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah,
So I want to work on those. So
yeah, I forgot about the narcissism that went on our channel. Yeah. The fact that Brian just went like, well, mine's the most important.
oh, mine's
Right?
there, you know?
But as long as mine,
I
gets
finished
finished,
mine. Your guys isn't.
Yeah. As long as they don't bring it up to me, I think I'm good. And we weren't. We
We were, because we were more
completely
worried
forgot.
about doing like the podcast and then also
mini-cast
and getting
and-
the mini cast. That's what as well too.
You
And
know
then-
what? So I just hit me right now, and thank God I'm only doing it twice a week now.
Mhm.
But November's gonna come around, and we're gonna have a lot of work to do because Eternals comes out. We've got all the movies, Ghostbusters. So there's mini casts for that as well.
Our other like the whole theme of that month as well too.
I'm
What
really
we're
excited
doing.
for that, for the theme of
Yeah.
that month too.
Can we announce it now or not?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
this
think-
will be aired
yeah,
on the
on the
week of
weekend.
November.
Oh my God, you're right. So
It'll air the first week in November. Yeah.
before we move on to that, because we are going to talk about Eternals just a bit.
Yeah.
We are going to watch Eternals, right?
Yeah.
When does it come out again?
Next week.
Next Friday.
Is it really? Next
Yeah. I'm watching last night. Is it the last night in Soho? Tomorrow.
Oh, you watching that tomorrow?
I'm watching it
Oh,
tomorrow.
wow.
I was gonna ask you if you wanted to go watch what is it?
My Hero.
Academia movie.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I
I
might
haven't
see
caught
that
up.
with it.
Huh?
I haven't caught up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also an anime movie. I mean,
Yeah,
you really
it's
need
not
to catch
canon.
There's explosions. There's and all that other
Yeah,
aspect.
full-
There might be some reveals of certain powers that he doesn't know about yet.
up. Maybe.
Yeah. What part of season 5 are you on?
I don't remember.
Has Deku gotten Deku gotten a new Wiggly Woo?
No, I've gotten up to.
That's so out of context. Like,
Anyway, we'll talk about it afterwards. But anyways, before we move on to what's gonna happen this month,
that's on another website.
I want to thank you guys for putting up with me and working as hard as we did to get these things out there, because it wasn't an easy thing to do. We sacrificed our Friday nights to like do this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that sooner rather than later it all pays off.
Yeah, we were. I think we were at your house the day filming mine until
2:30, 2 in the
Yeah,
morning,
it was-
and
it
I
was
had to
like
work at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it was like 2:30 because I had to go drive you home.
Funny
And
that Brian says after we got done doing the podcast. Yeah, we could if we could record all this in an hour and a half, that'd be great. me and Nick look at each other.
We
We're
were,
like,
we were walking outside and we were like, dude, we're never gonna finish this in an hour.
because we had to go to like 3 different locations.
He's like delusional. He thinks that we can finish this in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, thank you guys. And I hope that everyone who listens goes and checks it out, go sub to our YouTube channel and let us know what you guys think. I think at this point with the stuff that, that we're putting out there, we're very serious on it. So any kind of critique, be it positive or negative, hopefully positive, you guys can let us know in the comments or reach us directly, DM us on Instagram,
Yeah,
Cause
let us know whose acting is the worst. I think it's mine. It might be mine.
No, I think yours was
I
solid.
think, I don't know. I feel
Your
like,
acting has improved.
really.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like mine has stayed the same. But if you think it's improved, okay.
Nick, it's not funny anymore. I was like, oh damn, he
I
sold
know.
it.
I thought it was so funny because speaking of which, I hadn't seen that until you guys said it to me last night.
Okay.
I had no idea.
so you had no idea.
I had no idea.
You were part of it.
I,
You're like,
I had no idea I was even part of it.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought it was so funny that I was like, I'm not even there and they're blaming me. Like they're yelling at me and I wasn't even there.
I wasn't even there.
I wasn't even there and I'm getting yelled at. just like, well, it sounds like Brian wrote this script.
Yeah, this is a Brian script.
It's definitely a Brian script if I'm in trouble. And I wasn't even there.
But it wasn't you.
Yeah.
So November
Yes.
is here, and
Yes.
it is the month to be thankful for.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Right.
we want to bring on guests, and
Hey.
all of November we're going to be having special guests come on to the podcast in person, and we're going to talk things that are related to them and anything else that they want to talk to. So it's going to
Do
be
you want to announce the first guest?
we'll leave it as a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll leave it as a surprise.
I think
She's
it's-
listening to this right now. I'll just say
I
I
that.
think
she's
it's
all-
so funny because the guest that I got is on week 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Week 3 or
And-
week 4?
Week 3.
We talk about it after.
Yeah.
And then-
I swear we had this
Not
planned
on
out.
camera.
we just don't know dates. Okay, we have a schedule. We just don't know.
People are aware.
Yeah. People are aware they need to show up that day. That's all they need. So anyway, it's gonna be really funny because the guest that I got for that day,
Yeah.
me and him are coming back from a cruise
Oh,
the
wow.
day prior. And then the next day we're coming on the podcast. And I even told him too, I was like, hey man, you're gonna be on the podcast on Friday, right? And he's just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be there. And I'm like, oh, you know, it's the day after we get back from the cruise. And he's like, oh, bro, that podcast is gonna suck. He's like, dude, I'm gonna be so hungover.
I'm gonna be recovering. It's okay.
We'll get him a double shot.
He's like, bro, why did you schedule it for that week?
Or just give him a G Fuel because for some reason G Fuel works.
Can I get a pen real quick?
Yeah. So I mean,
I heard that. I heard that, Renee.
What do you say?
I said a cuss word.
So anyway, but I can't wait. I can't wait to see our guests, to get everything else. It's gonna be a cool month of interviewing and kind of seeing how, you know, everything all the way up until Thanksgiving, which is
Yeah.
gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah.
So it's a month that's gonna be very fun, and we want to give back, and you know, hopefully, just
Never mind. I'll ask you later. I was gonna ask if we were recording on Black Friday, but
are we? We record at night.
We record
Black
at
Friday
night.
happens in the morning.
I'm gonna be dead probably, but I'll try.
that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
I was like,
no,
I
we
don't
can do
know.
it. We can do
I
it.
don't know. Like, it's right after Thanksgiving. That's why I was like, oh, I don't know.
We'll be.
Well, that's why we have a
fine.
guest. That's why we have a guest. So
Guest will take
I
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guess, like,
We'll be like, all right, so what?
I guess I'm just on the podcast now.
All right, we ready to close out and do our last topic of the day?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's do.
Not much to talk about.
Let's
Yeah, I
talk
mean, it's
talk about Eternals.
Right.
It's not that great.
right.
End the podcast.
Thank you guys for joining us.
No, that's
You
the thing. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. That's the thing, though, is I don't know if
Good point, Nick.
No. I don't.
I don't know.
I don't know if whether or not, because okay, so the main issue with the Eternals is that
It's Eternals.
I mean,
I hate you so
in a
much.
box.
I hate you so much
that's-
right now. I hate you so much.
That's the topic.
Hey, you know
Just
what? I
die,
hope
I
this
swear.
joke, that joke sold. And you know
No,
what?
I refuse.
no.
You know what I
take back
got
my
told
laughter.
this last 2 weeks ago?
What?
Once this podcast airs, I got told I wasn't funny. And that hurt. And I'm just like,
Who said that?
who do you think?
Andy?
No.
Is that what she says?
You know what, babe?
Look,
you know,
I'm-
you know
You're
what
just not
lately?
funny. Then what are you with me for?
No, I thought she was
It's
trying
your
to like.
sunny disposition.
You know what? I thought it was like she was trying to win a fight, and just be like, you know what? You're not funny, and then just walked out.
Oh
just be
yeah,
like,
it's that Bill Burr joke where they come up with a statement that just makes you go crazy.
That's my kryptonite right there. No, the moment I got told that, I'm just like,
wait,
where did that come from?
Wait, who told you that?
I'll tell you afterwards. But basically, I got told I wasn't funny, and that entire time, I was just like, you know what?
I mean, they're not
funny.
wrong.
Shut your mouth.
I make you funny. There's a difference.
No,
We make you funny.
We bring your comedy up.
Shut your mouth. All right, Eternals. I don't got to come back with this.
So, quick little edit. At the time of recording, we didn't check the Rotten Tomatoes score for Eternals. Turns out that it was actually lower than expected. It actually dropped below a 60%. So, if you guys are listening to this podcast and notice that the information is a little bit off, it's because we didn't check the information at the time of recording. So, there's going to be some little misinformation. It's all good. We kind of figured it out. We just didn't know where to put it in afterwards. But yeah, we'll go ahead and let Past Us talk more about it.
You tell me I'm not funny and I shut down. I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever. Just not gonna talk.
Or
anymore.
or that one time
The
where
wit is
we
weak
mentioned
this
like
week.
sad moments in movies, and Andy brought that up, and you're just like,
Aw, dang it.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, so the controversy with Eternals is that people are saying that the reviewers are they're hitting it really hard.
mm-hmm.
They're hitting this movie really hard, saying that it's a lot of flash and no spectacle. You know, there's a lot of really big names. There's a lot of like things that are going on, but there's not a whole lot of like meat and potatoes to the movie.
Oh, I see.
And they're hitting
Wait.
the movie pretty hard for it.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was all flash spectacle and too much to tell.
Oh, that
That's
was
not wrapped up
you're right.
well
I'm,
enough.
I'm mixing it up. Yes, I'm flipping it. Yes.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
this is what I saw. I saw that Eternals, when it was finally released out for review, was at a 90%. Like the first day they announced it, Rotten
Right.
Tomatoes was like 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Then it dropped down to 80. And then it went down to low 70s.
Is that? But that was like
Like within days.
I know, but that's reviewers, right?
That's reviewers.
This is
yes.
actual critics.
This is critics. From a 90 to an 80 to low 70s to 65.
Now, is that people changing their minds, or is that just the average?
That's the average. So,
So there are some people out there that are thinking it's a 90.
okay. So here is what I am kind of seeing is going on.
Right.
A lot of people aren't used to the fact that this is a superhero movie with superheroes that no one knows unless you really read the books.
Yeah.
Even we aren't familiar with the Eternals. You,
That's
if anything.
I you know what the funny thing is that a buddy of mine, Lucas, he was we used to do the Waffle Press together, and he was giving me the breakdown of the Eternals because like he's an Eternals fan, which I didn't know.
Yeah, wow.
And like when we were driving home last week, he was kind of giving me like the breakdown of like what exactly happens in the Eternals, and we were talking about it, you know, especially with like Black Knight and everything else, like the Obsidian Blade,
Yeah.
and you know how exactly in the new comics they're mixing that in with the what was it, with the symbiotes and stuff like that, and how like Black Knight is technically part of the Guardians of the Galaxy at a certain point,
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's so interesting to kind of see like how Marvel has already been kind of like trying to pitch some of these characters to be like, you know, big stars.
Yeah.
And I think that they have really talented actors that are behind a couple of these.
It's a star-studded cast. This is like, I kind of what I like. It's trying to advertise itself the way Dune tried to advertise itself.
So I'm wondering.
Here are the stars. Go watch
Right.
them.
And they all die within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no, I really did, because I was telling you guys that I think last podcast when we were talking, or a couple podcasts ago when we started talking about the Eternals movie, where I was like, I don't think that everybody on this lineup is making it out of the movie.
No.
I in no way, shape, or form do I
Or
feel.
Dune, right?
No, for Eternals.
Eternals.
Okay.
Like
'Cause
Eternals,
You have Angelina Jolie, you have Salma Hayek, and then you also have
Kumar.
Camille
Dajani.
Yeah.
Oh, to Johnny.
Kit Harington.
Uh-huh.
And you also have the actor, I forgot his name, the actor that played
Rob Stark.
Rob Stark. He's in it as well too. And then there's probably actors that we don't know about just yet. They'll probably have later on in the movie and stuff like that.
So IGN was saying that it focuses on three
Eternals.
Eternals, and then you
everybody
kind
else
of
is side.
and everyone is kind of given their own story, but it's not the center of everything. They were saying that, you know, for example, like Angelina Jolie's character, she's going to be kind of like the one that you're kind of getting some backstory here and there, but she's going to be like a progressive character that kind of moves the plot forward here and there, which I can understand. I know that the director who did Eternals, Chloe, can you look her up real quick?
Let me see.
I forget her last name. She's an Academy Award winning director.
Yes.
So she, there's a lot of faith in this movie going out there and hitting high marks. The fact that it isn't, and that it's like the fact that they released it and lifted the embargo for review so early, and it's
Chloe
Zaho.
Yeah, but that shows that whoever was watching it over at Marvel had a lot of faith in the movie.
Yeah.
But they watched the movie and they were like, "This is damn good. We should release it now." And now they're getting kind of like backlash on it.
So the last movie that she directed was Nomadland, which had what was it? It had with Frances McDormand. That was a really good movie. I actually like that movie a lot.
Right.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
So I mean, there's really not much to talk to because we haven't seen the movie. We won't see it until next week.
Yeah.
So next issue we should have watched it.
We should have watched it. There'll probably be a mini cast about it, even though it's a 2-hour movie. So I mean, there's a lot in that movie. There is, and that's kind of like a problem from what I'm seeing is because, I mean, granted, the Marvel fan base is big enough that I don't think a 65% is going to scare people off. But I think that this kind of starting to show the weaknesses of Marvel, the company, in terms of it thinking that it's always going to be hitting big hitters with these movies. And if this, if they were this confident and released it early and they said, you know what, go ahead and review it, put the scores out there, and it's getting lower marks, are we starting to see kind of like a slow deterioration of these movies?
No, because until I see how the fans reacted to it, you can't say that. Because a reviewer isn't necessarily always going they're going into these movies and maybe they don't know the Eternal story. Maybe they haven't watched a bunch of the Marvel movies. Maybe they haven't done whatever. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's only about the people that did the movie put butts in seats.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
And did the butts in the seats enjoy it? Once I get that figure and I watch it myself, then I can positively say, because I've been saying for years, I don't trust reviewers. I don't.
A lot of people don't. Yeah.
I don't trust. I don't go off of reviews. I don't go off of Rotten Tomatoes. I don't do anything like that because there's a lot of movies that are on Rotten Tomatoes that have terrible scores that I've then watched and I was like, I actually really enjoyed that movie. Like King Arthur.
Oh, the one with
the Guy Ritchie. The Guy Ritchie King Arthur. I love that movie. That movie is awesome.
Yeah.
But it got killed because of scores. Because critics immediately flagged it. They didn't like it. They thought it was too stylized. And then people didn't go watch it. And then it died in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But it was a sick, awesome movie. It was so interesting. The characters were really fleshed out. I really enjoyed it. It was supposed to be like a trilogy of movies that ended up just dying. It was supposed to be its own King Arthur universe.
You could also do it in reverse. John Wick, because John Wick was highly rated among critics. And then I watched it for the first time and I thought it was a pretty decent
You
action
shut your
movie.
mouth, all right?
Don't make me. I just got canceled right now. No, in all seriousness, because the way I thought about it is critics are overselling this movie. And so I was in my head, I'm like, this is going to be some sort of great spectacle. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be action packed. And then I watched it and I'm just like, I mean, it was great, but it wasn't like if critics are saying that this is a 110% movie, to me it was like a solid 90.
See, that's the thing. I do what Nick does, and I don't listen to critics at all. I actually saw that movie the first week it got released.
I saw it.
So, but I didn't read any reviews, honestly, because when I remember when seeing the trailer, I was kind of like, oh, it looks like it's basically like an action movie of a guy getting revenge. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And this is Keanu Reeves' like big comeback movie.
I specifically remember that movie came out February. Right at the same time 50 Shades of Grey came out.
Yes. Yeah. Actually it did. Yeah.
And I know that for a fact because I was dating someone at the time.
Did they make you go watch 50 Shades?
They made me go watch 50
You
Shades.
went to go watch 50 Shades and you give us crap for watching Twilight?
Excuse me, sir. I was dating someone. They forced me to go.
Did you watch Twilight?
Let's not talk about it.
No, that was the conversation we had.
You didn't watch Twilight.
No, I watched Twilight.
Wait, who didn't watch Twilight?
Hold on. First off, I haven't finished Twilight. I watched the first movie.
I went
that's
through
right,
all of
yeah.
them, dude.
Yeah. We talked about all the movies because we were talking about Breaking Dawn and how ridiculous it was.
You
And
know-
Nick was listening. He's all like, "What do you mean?"
You
Like,
know, Sarah.
Bella-
that
Bella
movie is,
went backwards.
That movie is crack. All right, And
Bella
that-
goes backwards and breaks her spine.
Listen, it's not even crack because like they're addicting. It's crack because of the things it does to your body after you start getting addicted to them. Because the fact that it destroys your guys' mind as much as it does, where apparently all of this makes sense.
we're just accepting this. Like,
So-
Yeah, like that's some crazy people. Like you took some. I feel like everyone's taking crazy pills when they go, "Oh yeah, Twilight's good." What? Why?
yeah, it's the best part was like Edward and Bella finally get to do it.
The
and they
best
just,
part
like,
was
break the
when
bed.
Jacob took his shirt off. No, stop.
The best part is when Jacob bonded with Bella's unborn daughter, who wasn't even who imprinted on an unborn
Guys.
fetus that wasn't even inseminated yet.
The whole time. That's true.
When you put it, I know, but when you say it that way, it's like no.
But that's the thing. That's the logic like behind it. If you honestly just say it like that in a more like that's it.
So
Like, that's how it is.
I saw Sarah about 2 weeks ago, and
That is a baby that was a twinkle in Edward's
okay,
eye.
we're moving on.
No, you can't move on from that.
because
You can't
Andy
just
has
go,
not
"Well, it's fine."
seen these movies, and so
Good.
we saw Sarah, and her mom has all the Twilight books, and it like went to like I went back to like reminisce of the time when I picked up the first one and then stopped because I'm just like, this is garbage. And she's just like, no, you have to like, because I was contemplating on rewatching them just for the jokes.
I have a,
And to
question.
ki-
I have
Huh?
a question. Is Sarah a big fan of Twilight movies?
Yes, but for the right
Am I
reason.
gonna have to fight her?
No. No, she says that they're honestly like very fun movies if you don't take them seriously.
I'm gonna have to fight her.
So, I can say that about any terrible movie. Like
When she comes on the
Schindler's List, fun movies. Don't take it serious.
I think I just spoiled who's going to be on. But let her defend herself. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put boxing gloves on her and
No.
we'll fight it out. Every single time that she doesn't make sense, we get to box.
Every time a point is made and I don't agree with it, we out and round.
I could
had
just
around.
see it. I could just see it. Like she'll say something, and you see just Nick in the one of the cameras like.
Just we're gonna have to fight now. Like, now we have to fight.
You know what? I'm gonna say this.
Speaking of which, I'm trying to find it again. I went to this thing. It was a coffee tasting with chess boxing, and I can't find. I'm looking for it again.
That's awesome, though.
Wait, what? Coffee? Hang on. Before you, I want to hear more about this, but I'm just going to say this. So I mentioned Sarah.
yeah.
Okay. But Sarah also told me that, or no, it wasn't Sarah. It was John, her fiance.
Okay, sure.
He came up to me and he's just like, yeah, I listen to your podcast occasionally. Sometimes I'll like be walking around and I'll hear it in the background because Sarah listens to it in her living room. And I hear you mention her a lot, but you don't seem to kind of mention me. So this is a shout out to John. So John, we love you.
Can you hear us now, John?
If you
Your name
if you
is
miss, you only get this
John.
part. Sarah,
should-
don't rewind it.
Okay,
if he's
John.
not there, if he's not
All
there,
right, John.
you missed this opportunity.
John, just letting you know, this is a pity call out. Because apparently you had to complain about it in order for Brian to even think of you.
No.
Now, what does that say about your friendship?
What the?
I want you to really categorize your friendship with Brian because it took you to complain about it. That's the messed up thing.
mentioned it
Really
before.
think, no, really think about it. Just really think about it.
He's like, look, if I'm gonna fight Sarah over Twilight, all right, someone else is gonna have to fight someone. It's gonna be me.
So he's gonna have to fight you, Brian. That's it. Who's the better friend? I'm not gonna punch you because I love you.
I love you too.
We won't hit each other.
So Internals.
I'm dead. No, I want to hear more about this coffee tasting
Oh, that's right.
chess boxing.
Well, okay, well let's close out Internals. because
Okay, let's
that's-
close out Eternals because
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
we're
a
gonna go
little
see it. It's a 65%. People are just too, quick to pull the
Our
trigger.
full review of Eternals will be next week.
long. Yes.
Yes, and reviewers just kind of shut up for a bit.
Yeah,
Okay, just
because the
give your
fans
thought.
haven't seen it yet.
Let's get rid of the percentage.
Damn morons.
Let's get rid of the percentage and let's just go like, what do you think of the film? I think it was okay. Great. We'll leave it there. That's how reviewers should be like from now on.
Absolutely.
All right. Point and done. We'll watch Eternals. That's it. Let's hope it's good.
Gonna be internal.
So do you want to know about chess boxing? Do you
Yes.
just-
Okay, let's go because we got to close
The
out the
listeners
podcast
want to
soon.
know.
Okay,
that.
okay.
I
so-
want to know.
So when I got invited to chess boxing,
Okay, never mind.
it was in a shady neighborhood in downtown LA, which I then found out that the building that we went to looked like a crack house. Turned out that it was an art studio because those looked similar. We went upstairs and they had made a makeshift boxing ring.
Out of cardboard.
No, not out of cardboard. There was
Coffee
literally
beans.
four pillars that were support beams for the house, and then for the building that we were in.
So they used the support beams of the structure to build the ring.
Yes.
Did-
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Every time someone just leaned back on the ropes, the structure would rumble a little bit.
So anyway, and then they had a bunch of coffee. They had a bunch of local coffee shops that it was that were giving out free espressos, and they were letting you sample their own coffee and everything like that. Mind you, this sounds super LA.
Yeah.
What could be
a
more
coffee
LA?
tasting, boxing?
It's a coffee tasting boxing.
So are we
match.
Yeah.
talking
You imagine?
are-
so this is from Colombia? Yeah, hit him harder!
I'm not gonna lie, that actually did happen.
Get the chair! Oh my god, where is this? Is this a dark roast?
Yeah. I taste
that-
a bit like hazel.
That did actually happen.
Cage
because there was-
match! Let's go!
No, that's wrestling. First off, learn your sport. But
Battle Royale.
Listen, in LA, okay, you could say it's boxing, but at some point it turns into something else.
so when I had asked the guy that was organizing it there, I was like, "So why chess boxing?" And he's like, "Well, the first thing they do, because I was asking him how exactly this works, and he goes, "Well, the guys come out, and then we put a table in the middle of the ring, and they play 2 minutes of chess, and then they go
chess boxing.
Yeah, you didn't
I
know
thought
that?
it was chest.
What, you thought they were just?
No, I thought
trying to hit
it was
shot him in
no
the chest?
face,
Yeah.
no lower bodies, all chest.
On chest, boy. On
the-
chest, boy.
No. So literally, it's so funny. It was so funny. 'cause
Knight to E5. Checkmate. Well, you know what? You goddamn bitch.
So here was the two ways that you could win in chess boxing. Either you checkmated them, or
You just knock him out.
you knock them out.
So
can't-
what?
Oh,
Do
man.
you stop the timer by swinging at the person or what?
No. So you would do 2 minutes of chess. They would do their moves, everything like that. However long, because it was supposed to be speed chess.
Yeah, it's speeches.
So these guys are playing chess, and then when the timer went off, they then went. They got the thing. They picked it up, took it out of the ring. They took a picture of it just in case pieces moved, and then they took it out of the ring. And then the two guys got into their corner, and then they started beating the shit out of each other.
I was hoping they would try to move the pieces with the gloves on.
No, and they would put the gloves back on,
Yeah.
and they would start hitting each other. And I was like, "Why chess boxing?" And he's like, "You know how hard it is to play chess?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Do you know how hard it is to box?
no." And he's like, "You ever played chess after getting smacked in the face 5 times?" And I'm like, "You're right. That would be very difficult." So this one dude was literally about to checkmate somebody else, and then the timer ran out, and the guy goes, "That just means I gotta knock you out, bro. That just means I gotta knock you out."
Can you imagine the tone? All right, so I'm gonna play chess. Okay, that's a good move. Oh man, I'm about to checkmate. Oh well, the timer's down. I'm gonna knock you out, man.
He's like, "Oh, I'm just saying, you go down this round, because I'm gonna lose. You gotta go down this round." It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Risk.
All it takes
and
is 2 hits. Me hitting you, then you hitting the floor.
It was so funny though, because as they were boxing, the ropes that they had gotten weren't boxing ropes. They were just regular ropes.
They weren't even covered in anything.
Is there? Can we go to this place?
Yeah, I want it now.
Yeah, now I'm so interested.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find it.
Can you record there, if anything? Can
Is
we
this like
record
the How I
us
Met Your
there?
Mother
Find it.
episode where they're trying to find the perfect sandwich place and they can't
I'm
find
gonna
it?
let
It's
you know
burger,
when
first of all.
Listen,
Perfect burger.
listen. there's a lot of things I did when I was in the video game industry. All right, and there's a lot of things I can't find.
There's a lot of
anymore.
secrets that I can't tell yet.
Not only that, but also for a lot of it, I was drunk. And then this is what happens when like you just let your boss drive, and he just goes, "This is where we're going," and I'm like,
should we do like beer fest then? Get you drunk in LA and
You know
just
what,
like have
maybe-
you, and just kind of like have you just retrace your steps as drunk. You're just like
left, go up that building.
Nick is just kind of like, we plant him in the middle of downtown Los Angeles,
Yeah.
right? And he's just like
Boxing.
over there. He's just walking that
Do you
way.
smell the coffee? No, I smell the sweat.
I smell fear.
No, but dude, it was so funny because it was like 5 matches, and they were playing chess, and you exactly what you said. People were in the background going like, "Is this hazelnut?"
oh my god.
As people are as literally 2 guys are playing chess and then beating the shit out of each other. It's great.
Bing, bing, bing. Oh, yeah, let's go.
Get out! It's just like,
Dude, that's what it was. Because I had coffee in my hand,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, kick him in the face!
So what
awesome.
do we do? So they've got chess and boxing. Can we do like octagon and risk? The octagon and
no,
risk.
risk is too long.
Risk
That's
is-
why. Monopoly.
Ooh.
That's
the
also
octagon.
that's awesome.
Also,
Yeah,
also
I know,
long,
but the whole
you
point
can
is when
build
you
that
own-
aggression.
Exactly.
See,
It's like,
I feel like Stratego and Risk. I mean, Stratego and wrestling. That would be interesting.
the way Monopoly works, okay, the way we can do
Just-
that is if someone owns like all the properties or like they refuse to buy one,
Mhm.
or you can buy out your bankruptcy
Mhm.
by knocking the other person out.
You know what, man? Sure, I owe you $1,000, but let's see if I can beat you in the face. You know, let's see if I still owe you that money.
Let's see if you remember if I owe you that money.
Broken
Yeah.
leg.
Yeah, dude. Chess boxing was dope.
Yeah, that's awesome,
I gotta
though.
go back. I gotta go.
Definitely.
I gotta find it. It's,
Mhm.
Should we wrap up the episode here?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Let's end it
All
on
right.
chess boxing.
We'll
All
leave
right.
listeners with that.
So, just a reminder, guys, you guys can find us on our website, keepingupwithnerds.com, where you guys can find all our previous content, including the videos that we'll be posting up for Halloween, all our previous podcasts into year 1. There's going to be an archive, hopefully soon, of everything that was up before year 1 as well.
Yes.
So keep posted on that. I'm working on it. I got more time now, thankfully. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Keeping Up with the Nerds. We're trying to get that at Instagram.
Yeah.
That person just needs to delete their account. They're not even using
For
it.
what?
At Keeping Up with the Nerds.
Yeah.
What are they
Someone
doing?
has it.
Mhm.
There's nothing. It has like 2 followers.
Yeah, Ben,
no
they're
posts.
using
Have you messaged
keeping
it?
up with the nerds.
Yeah.
So we can't.
Have you messaged it?
No,
No.
I'm scared.
Why?
What if they come after me?
I've checked the account. It's just a bunch of teenagers that don't use it.
Message them.
I'll
Yeah,
message
we
them.
just message them and then we bully them.
Let's-
That's
know
not
what,
how
dude?
we should get started. Find us on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm just saying, we challenge him to chess.
Chess boxing.
I'll take up the chest box.
Win or lose, I win.
Also, you guys can find us on YouTube. If you guys are listening to us on audio platforms, Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, leave a review, please. Or Google Podcasts. You guys can find us on YouTube, Keeping Up with the Nerds, where we will be posting videos, any upcoming content, and we do have a video format of the podcast as well on there. Just a reminder, guys, we are also uploading mini casts. When anything interesting does come out, it will be on our website. I tried doing website exclusive and then YouTube, but I think I'm just going to do both
Mhm.
just to kind of like,
Yeah.
just to kind of get it going. Because I feel like more people are so used to just going to youtube.com and then we can just advertise it, afterwards on our website. So you guys can find us on there. With that said, keep posted on November. We got a lot of content coming to you guys with guests. I think you guys already know who the first one's going to be. Can't wait to see everyone here and hopefully talk more nerdy stuff, content and stuff, topics that we normally don't even talk about. So
Yeah.
it'll be an interesting one, November. So keep posted, guys. Nick, take us away.
He turned up the light.
Oh, I was like,
He's-
why did it get darker?
It gets so much darker in here.
The candy hit one of the outlets.
Fire sparks.
There we go. You're good.
All right, Nick, take us away. Oh my God. Take us away, Nick.
Candy all
Oh
over.
my God. Take us away.
This is been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 71. My name is Nick Valero,
This is Brian.
Renee.
recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We want to thank everyone for listening to this issue and hope to see you all next time.